Hello, everyone, and welcome to my next episode of Revisiting My Old Albums. Today, I will be talking about an album that was released on this day, December 17th, 10 years ago, 2009. We're going to talk about Citadellion's album Adventures of Taeloth. And this album is mainly a product of one guy named Björn Olmarker, a Swedish bass player and composer. Up until this album, not very well known at all. And he contacted me in early 2009 on MySpace, I guess, before Facebook and everything took over. And he said he loved my vocals on the Moonlight Agony album that I did. And he told me he was making a metal opera, and that he, when he heard my vocals, he directly he imagined me as the lead part. A fun side note is that the first song he mentioned was Icy Plains by Moonlight Agony, which was on the first album where I wasn't the singer. But I guess he heard the rest of the album too, the album that I was on, Southern Waters. He didn't have to ask me twice because I liked the idea. He told me the story very in extreme detail, because this was the first part of a trilogy, and he already had it all made up in his mind, and it was a great story, and I am a huge fantasy geek, so he got me hooked right away. And basically it's like Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, whatever. Two brothers in a small village, and we get to follow them when they adventure out to a big unknown world, chasing and following a trio of evil dudes who slaughtered their village, basically. And I play Lithas, one of the brothers, who, if I remember correctly, later in the story will be develop into some kind of magician. This was the first album that I recorded on my own, in a cupboard, like Harry Potter style, in the house that we were renting at the time. I think I said wrong. I recorded most of it in 2008 and the first half of 2009 in this cupboard with a lousy microphone and just throwing up some paddings on the wall. My daughter was recently born at this time, so I think I had some of her cushions and baby stuff up everywhere. And Björn sent me sheet music because he's a great guy, and I just worked on sorry, making the story come alive. I also remember that I finished the album before we moved, because we moved to another house in the summer of 2009, and there was one scream in I think it was in one of the first songs, Vengeance, I think, that Björn wanted me to do again in a bit more aggressive way. So one scream, I don't remember which one, in Vengeance is also recorded in my old studio in the house where we live today. The album was never released as a physical album. It was only released on MySpace and later on YouTube, and I think it's on Spotify nowadays. And it consists of 10 songs in 34 minutes, because there's, I think it's one short instrumental and one short interlude kind of thing that I sing. And it's basically technical symphonic power metal with two vocalists. It's me and Martin Järbu. And he has a more like a raspy voice, and he plays the other brother. And it's quite easy, I think, to tell the difference in who sings what in this album. And he was a great singer, and we I think our voices blended very well on the parts where we sing in harmony. I think it sounds great. Bjorn did most of the guitars and bass and drums himself, but he asked me to if I knew anyone who could play the lead guitars, and as always I recommend Linus Abrahamsson, my very good friend. So he contributed with the lead guitars on this album. It was the first time we ended up on the same album, but definitely not the last. It was mixed by a guy named Magnus Högdahl. I don't know if he has done any other work. And the cover artwork was done by Jan Yrlund. Very fantasy-ish, cool album cover, I think. Well, yeah, on a side note, Martin was also the first singer in the band Sapphire. Great Swedish band if you haven't heard them, so you need to check them out. And Linus, of course, he has played with numerous musicians and bands. He is the bass player of Andromeda. Yeah, bass player, yes, and he played lead guitars on the album. He is as good on guitar solos from hell as he is a stable and great bass player. He has played with Mark Bowles, and he plays brutal death metal in the band Non-Exist, and he played bass on Pelle K's new album. Well, I can't really enough stress on how much of a musical genius this guy is. Well, enough about Linus and more about Citadellion. The next part of the Citadellion saga was supposed to be recorded, and Björn was really into the preparations of the songwritings. He sent some MIDI ideas to me and Martin, and he also came over here to spend the weekend at my place. Traveled quite far, so we sat and discussed the theme and ideas. And I guess somewhere along the road, Björn had a really severe computer crash. And this was also before you could easily save everything in the cloud. And I guess he learned a hard lesson to make backups. So everything went in the can, and I think it struck him pretty hard, so it was... the work was put on hold, and then it was put on hold for a very long time. And today, 10 years after, on the 10-year anniversary, Citadellion released a new EP featuring Martin on all the vocals, and Björn, I guess, songwriting and bass guitar and guitars. I will try to put some links either up here or somewhere, or in the comments or the description of the video, where you can listen to both the old album and to the new EP. and I think it's a really cool thing to release the album on the 10-year anniversary, or the new EP. I haven't heard it yet. I heard some teasers they released last week, and as soon as I'm done with this video, I will listen and crank it up very, very loud. And I wish Björn and the guys very good luck, and I hope that each and every one of you guys watching this video will check them out and give them the credit they deserve. So this was my revisiting of Citadellion, Adventures of Taeloth. And like I said, this was released 10 years ago in 2009. From 2009 there will be a huge gap in album releases. The next album on the wall is actually the Vivaldi Metal Project album, released in 2016. So that's 7 years of no releases. And I guess I will talk about that in the next video. So until then, bye bye and see you out there.